today's episode, we at Sneak Peek want to send all of our love to the family of the celebrated and beloved Lance Reddick, who sadly passed away this St. Patrick's Day at the age of 60.
Lance Reddick was a prolific actor whose most notable works include the television shows The Wire, Fringe, and Lost, as well as the distinguished character of Sharon, the concierge of the infamous Continental in the John Wick franchise.
Don't forget his love for video games.
That's right. Reddick also starred in a variety of video games, including Destiny, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Quantum Break.
In fact, it was recently discovered that mere hours before his death, Reddick was last seen online playing Destiny 2.
Reddick led an outstanding career, although he recently helmed the failed Netflix series Resident Evil, based off of the video game of the same name, as Albert Wesker. He was also cast as Riordan Zeus in the upcoming Disney Plus television adaptation of Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
The first season of the show, which covers the first book of the series, The Lightning Thief, has wrapped filming, meaning we will get to witness Reddick's final role in all of its godly glory. But fans are left wondering what decision Riordan and the Disney team will make regarding the role of Zeus going forward.
Riordan shared his prayers for Reddick's family and love for Reddick in a blog post describing Reddick as a vibrant, kind, and talented man who had a gravitas and regal bearing, perfect for the King of the Gods.
Reddick will be deeply missed by all kinds of fans everywhere.
In other recent news, director Zack Snyder has announced on the social media app Vero that his Justice League trilogy, which includes his Superman origin, Man of Steel, the superpowered fight night blockbuster Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and the united effort against Darkseid of Zack Snyder's Justice League will all hit theaters for 3 nights only this April.
This would be Justice League's first time in theaters, wouldn't it, Dalton?
That's right, Kelsey. Zack Snyder's Justice League will finally be able to be viewed in IMAX theaters on April 30th, and I, for one, am absolutely pumped.
I don't really see the hype, to be honest. I thought those movies were pretty mid the first time around.
Yeah, whatever. But enough of that. We need to get into our very special, very exclusive South by Southwest episode, starting with our very own Ryan Schwinn's red carpet interviews for Amazon Prime's Swarm.
Take it away, Ryan.
What's up, Sneak Peekers? My name is Ryan Schwinn. We are here at South by Southwest 2023 on the red carpet of Swarm, the new Amazon Prime series from Janine Neighbors and Donald Glover. We're going to talk to the cast tonight to hear what they have to say about this incredible series, so let's check it out. Hi, what's up? My name is Ryan. We're students here at the University of Texas.
Yes, hey students, what's up?
Obviously, the marketing for Swarm has been very mysterious. What kind of expectations do you think that the audience should have going into this, or do you think they should keep it completely...
Have no expectations. Just go along for the ride because it's going to be a wild one. That's what I can promise you. And there's a lot of spins and you won't see these things coming.
With your character of Dre, were there any performances that you kind of used as like inspiration for how you went through it, or maybe like stuff that you'd seen online perhaps?
I didn't use anything that I saw online, and I didn't use any performances as I went through the characters. I will say I wanted to do this role, and when I thought that it was kind of like a little bit like my own Monster. I love Charlize Theron in Monster. I love Hilary Swank in Boys Don't Cry. Obviously Heath Ledger in The Joker. There was so many different films that when I read the script I said, oh, this could be my opportunity to have something like that.
A lot of great pop stars, yourself included, obviously.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're there. You're absolutely there. But are there any other pop stars that you would have like a Swarm moment for?
Yes. I had one for, well, not Swarm level, like murderous level. But it's funny because I always feel like I speak things into existence. I've always been such a huge fan of Donald Glover, always. And I fangirled over him during Lion King premiere. You know, I've always loved Beyonce ever since I was a little girl. And I've always fangirled over her. Nicki Minaj. Who else? Missy Elliott. Whitney Houston. So I am not shy when it comes to admitting that I am a stan for several artists.
No, I mean, Dre is like, I really say she's a one-woman band, and there's nobody quite like her. So I can't have a Swarm moment, but I can celebrate a lot of people. I always loved Aaliyah growing up. I loved Eminem, and been rapping Stan. I've been rapping the third verse of Stan. What else? I love J. Cole. I love Fabulous. I'm from Brooklyn. I love Jay-Z. I love all of them.
Well, I'm from New York, so I tend to play it cool regardless because we see celebrities all the time on the trains and walking the streets. But I actually performed with Beyonce at Coachella, so she was super sweet and super dope to work with. And you know, you just got to keep it cool when you're among stars. So yes, of course, inside we're like, ah! But yes, it was a lovely experience working with her.
So we're big fans of your performance in Judas and the Black Messiah. Oh my God, it was so good. And a lot of your stuff had premiered during the pandemic. What's it like big opening night premiere. Are you excited? How you feeling?
So excited. I'm overwhelmed. I almost don't even want this night to start because I don't want it to end. That's how excited I am about it.
Because we're students, do you have any advice for young people who are trying to kind of make it into the industry?
Oh, be yourself, love. This is a tattoo that I have. It's in my mother's handwriting, and I'm from Brooklyn. I went to LA by myself without my family, and I said whenever I go into these spaces, I just always want to be myself, and I want to be loved. And if I do that, then I'll be all right. So be yourself, love.
Never take it personal. Just do the work, be proud of the work you do, and then you let it go. That's my rules. That's all you can do, folks. You know what I mean? Because time is key. You never know when it's going to happen. So just keep doing the good work, and then you let it go.
I'd have to say this industry is really hard, and it's very tough, but your love has to outweigh it. And make sure it's your passion and you're not doing it for reasons outside of yourself. If you know you'll do it, if anybody cared for your art or watched it, and it's just because you love it, then that's when you know you're doing the right thing.
Well, want to thank you so much for stopping to talk with us. We're so excited to see this show.
I didn't finish college yet, but it's okay. I don't have college pride. I would love to, but I'm from New York.
We could see if we can get you like an honorary degree or something.
I would love that. Naja honorary degree. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're so excited.
It's a pleasure.
Hey Kelsey, did you watch the Oscars?
Of course I did. I was so happy to see Everything Everywhere win everything that they did, especially because we got to catch a premiere of the film at South by last year.
I totally agree, and I think all of the awards were well deserved. Unfortunately, my boy Paul did not win his Oscar for Best Actor.
And although he didn't win, he definitely looked great. I loved the white suit and rose.
I think Kelsey would agree with that sentiment, and luckily we have her here to give all her opinions on the fashion of this year's Oscars.
From one Kelsey to another, take it away.
The biggest thing I can mention, in my opinion, was that I definitely loved the outfits for the Vanity Fair after party more than the actual Oscars. A common theme to me this year was black and white. Most of the tuxes and dresses I saw followed this color scheme, but one that stood out to me in particular was Elizabeth Olsen. Her dress was stunning, and after seeing how beautiful she is in person at South by Southwest this year, I can say that I didn't think that she could look more beautiful. Then I saw her in this dress, my jaw dropped. Another look I have to point out from the ceremony was Paul Mescal. His suit did follow the black and white theme, but I think the rose on the suit with the white coat instead of the black, this look really stood out to me. One person who I was kind of disappointed by was Florence Pugh. Don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful dress, but I just didn't love the biker short look underneath. Now, a duo that I do have to mention because I've been loving them so much in the media lately is Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan definitely had a plain suit on, but I mean, talk about a dynamic duo. It would have been so easy for these two to come out in the same suit, but Jonathan Majors looked amazing, and I loved Michael B. Jordan's bow tie. So many people looked so amazing, but the Vanity Fair after party was where my favorite looks came from. Donald Glover in his gray suit, Gigi Hadid, although I think the color just made my eyes love it after seeing so much neutral in the colors, and Haley Steinfeld, who looked absolutely stunning. Everyone looked incredible at the Oscars, and I would love to hear your thoughts about the night.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Speaking of fashion, I can't stop thinking about that t-shirt with the Nicole Kidman AMC Theaters commercial.
AMC Theaters, we make movies better. Robbie has that shirt.
I know Robbie loves his fashion, but I think he loves Bob Odenkirk even more.
And lucky for Robbie, he got an interview him with his new show, Lucky Hank, last week on the red carpet. Let's see it, Robbie and Bob.
Professor, you barely said anything in an hour and a half.
Could you please, just for once, say something? Your only novel isn't even available at your own campus bookstore.
You're here. The fact that you're here means you show very little promise. Did that sound harsh? I'll smile through the rest of this. You are here at Railton College, mediocrity's capital.
This is one of your first major roles since the end of Better Call Saul. So what would you like to say to fans of that show and fans of you who are excited to see this show and the rest of your career?
Well, Lucky Hank, this show on AMC, is actually like a marriage in a weird way of the comedy I did, if you know that, and Saul, because it's really half and half, drama and comedy, and the drama of it is internal yearning and feelings similar to Better Call Saul.
So why did you choose to get involved with the series in the first place?
Oh my goodness. Well, they sent me an audition for it, and I read the script, and it was like the best script I had ever read. And then I did my tape for it with my friend Robbie. Shout out to Robbie. And it was an audition that I was like, I think that's one of my favorite auditions I've ever done, and I hope that they like it. And then they did. And then Paul met with me with Peter Fairley, who directed the pilot, and it just kept being where I kept auditioning, and then they kept being like, we like you, and then finally I booked it, which was cool.
Because I wanted to tell a story about regular people and what we are scared of and hope for, just really regular people with no extraordinary skills. And this project came, and the writing is so articulate and funny and poignant. It was all the things.
How would you compare your approach with playing Hank to compare with your approach of playing your other previous roles?
Oh, well, I was just saying Hank is closer to me. He's closer to my age. So even though he's got a lot going on inside and he kind of is shut down and grumbly, he's just kind of closer to me. So I was able to kind of ease into it. Like I didn't have to mold myself into this guy, but I could just relax almost into him.
What was your biggest challenge when filming this series, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like playing Julie, she's a very complicated character, and there were times where I was like, how do I play the comedy of her as like a young woman that's very feeling a lot of feelings and is kind of bizarre and doesn't realize she is, and then also having her be relatable and for people to still be able to empathize with her even though she's a little bit wacky.
The biggest challenge, well, it was somewhat similar to Better Call Saul. In Lucky Hank, the main character, Hank Devereaux, is his own worst enemy. And that kind of, you feel bad for the guy that you're playing. You wish he'd get out of his own way. So, but in this show, there's kind of more evolution that happens quicker. So that's nice.
But what was some of the craziest moments on set, or some of your favorite memories?
In episode 5, the whole episode takes place in our house at a dinner party, and every major character in the series is in the house for the whole, and it was the most wacky, wonderful experience with all these big personalities, such talented actors, all in a space for 2 weeks together.
From this show, Lucky Hank, most of my on-set fun, or rather my favorite times with the cast were at restaurants. We shot in Vancouver and they have the best food. Oh my God, they got sushi like you can't believe. It's so good. But on set we had a great time too. The 5th episode is all takes place inside the house, and we're having a dinner party. And it was just the greatest acting experiment time together with a great group of actors I've had in years.
And we're back.
I know I could stand here and talk about South by forever, but perhaps not as long as a couple sneak peekers.
That's right. I did the math, and between our sneak peekers, Robbie, Hunter, AK, and Chris, they spent over 100 hours watching movies at South by Southwest in 1 week.
And that doesn't even count all the time waiting in lines. I'm sure they're desperate to give all their opinions on their festival favorites.
Definitely. Enough of my silly little face. Let's throw it to y'all.
What's up, sneak peekers? I'm here with AK, Robbie, and Chris, and I'm Hunter. We're going to talk about some of the movies we saw at South by last week. So I think just to get us started, we can talk about the opening night film, one of the biggest movies that played at South by, Dungeons and Dragons. I think we all got to see it. Thoughts?
It's a real fun time, you know. Chris Pine, he did the thing, and we got to see him in his green velvet suit with about 2 buttons, I'd say unbuttoned at the top. That was pretty cool, you know.
Looking good, looking good. I had a lot of fun. I love fantasy stuff, and so it was just a fun time to just have an incredibly fun take on fantasy. And I'm a huge Regé-Jean Page girl, and he was looking fine in the movie and on the red carpet, so I will not complain.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I was actually volunteering whenever Dungeons and Dragons was playing, but I did get to talk to a lot of people in line and to see what their thoughts were. And I also got to see Chris Pine on the carpet. His outfit was really, really nice.
I know, right? It was so
cool. The boys were looking good.
Yeah, everybody looked fantastic. The entire cast was there. I did get to wash my hands next to Chris Pine in the bathroom, and so that was fun. But the movie itself, I thought was very enjoyable. I thought Hugh Grant was great as the villain. I wish he could have been there in person. And just overall, it was a great film to kick off South by. High energy, high action. The crowd loved it. So now everybody can just go around and say one of their favorites. AK, let's start with you.
Definitely Bottoms. I went and saw it twice. It was just that good and that funny, and the crowd was just great both times. And I don't know, it's definitely going to be a cult classic for years to come. I'm really glad I got to see it.
Absolutely. Bottoms was very funny, and the more I think about it, the more I like it. There's layers of jokes, there's meta humor in there, there's things like written on whiteboards that's funny that you'll definitely need to see again. And so the more I think about Bottoms, the more I like it. Robbie, what'd you think?
Oh, for sure. Like, if you just take Booksmart, just turn it up for like 100, and then you get Bottoms. It's just like they're like fighting, they're like trying to have some fun with their fellow cheerleaders and such. And I also saw Emma Seligman and Havana Rose Liu another time, got a picture of them. That was pretty cool. They're cool people.
They were both so sweet. I feel like a lot of sneak peekers got to meet the both of them, and they were awesome.
Lovely people, and getting like everyone seeing them with like different. I was like, it was so cool. But yeah, no, it was that movie was just like unforgivably raunchy and dirty, and I kind of love it for that. You know, you don't get to see people just be like just that intentionally vulgar. I'm just like, I kind of vibe with it. Like at some points it was a little bit too much, but it was definitely a huge highlight for me.
Yeah. Chris, what about you? What was one of your favorites of the festival?
So second off would probably be, because number one was Bottoms for me, but second favorite would probably be Problemista. I'm a little bit biased because me and the director, Julio Torres, we both come from the same country, so I'm kind of just like represent for that. But I thought it was a really well-written story, and I liked a lot of the creativeness that he used for like the more boring parts, like the phone calls and like whenever he would search online, those parts were really interesting to look at, and it was just it was a nice simple story that took a lot of creative liberties.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really enjoyed Problemista. I love getting to talk to the cast on the carpet. I think Julio is a genius. And I thought the film was just so creative, so fun. I love the when he's trying to escape the maze and he keeps like climbing up the stairs. I love the way they use shapes. It's just a really creative movie like nothing I've ever seen.
I love the way that Julio Torres walks in that movie. Like one of my favorite little moments in that film. Anytime there's a shot of him walking, just a little bounce. It's such a good character choice.
I love the soundtrack too. They were really it was really creative too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Robbie, a favorite of South by?
Ooh, this is a tough one, Hunter. There are so many good ones. I'm just gonna shout out John Wick Chapter 4. Yeah, I saw Keanu there. He was in the row right next to me and Ryan. We just look over every now and then. He was either laughing or crying. It was just such a joy. Just the action was like top notch. It was like it goes far beyond any of the other movies, and it's like a long one, like 2 hours 45 minutes. But like, there's no filler. It's this non-stop roller coaster, and it keeps escalating and escalating, and also de-escalating because he falls down a lot, down many stairs. And there's this one part where like he fell down, and someone in the audience was like, "Get up, Keanu!" And then everyone like cheered as he got up, and it was so magical.
Oh, that sounds incredible! I'm really can't wait to see the film. Sad I missed it at South by.
I missed it as well.
Yeah.
But my favorite of the festival, we already talked about Bottom, starring the wonderful Rachel Sennett, but I'm going to take a moment to talk about her other film at the festival, I Used to Be Funny, which just completely floored me. It blew me away. We know Rachel as a comedic actress, and in this film she plays a comedian, but a comedian who's been through some serious trauma, and so we get to see her play a dramatic side, and she absolutely knocks it out of the park. She just confirms what so many of us already knew, which is that she's one of the best actresses of our generation. And she's so talented and so brilliant. And Ali Pankiao, the director, so wonderfully balances the comedy and the really heavy moments. The choice to tell the story non-linearly really works for it and makes it a fully encompassing experience that just took it all out of me. I love that film.
Yeah, if you need another reason to cry to Phoebe Bridgers, go see I Used to Be Funny, because the needle drops in that film were just amazing. It's all female and non-binary artists, and it shows. It's amazing. Yeah, it was devastating leaving that theater, though. I remember walking out, and it was like sunny outside, and I was like, I feel like I should still be in the dark. But Rachel Sennett is just absolutely just a talent and a force.
Yeah, it's one you need to sit with for a little bit for sure. Did y'all get a chance to catch it?
I was dying to see it. It was my number one regret not seeing that one because like it is all the things, all the screenings just keep conflicting with everything in my schedule. And then it got even worse because there's this one thing, I was kind of like debating if I see Americana or I Used to Be Funny, and I chose Americana, and it was good, but I think I Used to Be Funny is probably a bit better. So I wish I'd seen that instead.
Yeah, I got a chance to catch Americana. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really funny. Directorial debut of Tony Toast. I thought he did really well. He seems like a wonderful dude. Paul Walter Hauser, always super fun to watch. The child actor in the movie, I don't know his name. I wish I did. He's a standout. Very funny. In Americana, but I think I Used to Be Funny more, but Americana also super funny. You should check it out. It's just a real enjoyable film that turns it up to a 15 in the third act. It just turns it in a whole nother direction. So we started talking about D&D. Then the ending film was probably the other biggest one, Air. Ben Affleck's Air was the surprise closing screening. We had Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker. Viola Davis, the Woman King herself, was in the room.
She was in the room.
And so it was just truly an incredible experience. I was a massive Batfleck fan, I'll admit it. And I'm a huge Ben Affleck fan. I've seen him be very depressed in most things on social media for going on a decade now. And so getting to see him walk in the room and introduce Air with so much joy, and the fact that he actually seemed happy, and once I saw the film, I fully understood it. He really knocks it out of the park with Air. It is a crisp, well-directed, extremely well-acted film. I think Viola will score an Oscar nomination for it. You can take your dad, you can take your mom when it's in the theater. Parents are going to love it. What do you think, Robbie?
Oh, for sure. It's definitely a movie for the dads out there. So if you like movies and if you have a dad, take your dad to this movie. The dad will watch it and become all powerful dad energy, he'll escalate and ascend into daddom.
Okay, 20 seconds each. Shout out one more movie or show you liked.
I really liked Beef. I just like how both of them were just unexcessively rude to each other, and I wish I had that much strength to hold a grudge.
Robbie.
Theater Camp. I premiered at Sundance. I saw it here. It was great.
Annika.
If You Were the Last, the chemistry is unbelievable, and I love just a sweet, silly, weird little rom-com.
Late Night with the Devil, starring David Dastmalchian. Brilliant, funny, scary film. Check it out. That was South by Southwest. There's so much more we didn't even get to talk about, but I'll see you next week, Sneak Peekers.